It is 2 in the morning. The room is quiet, the lights are off, and somewhere in the darkness your dog has quietly climbed onto the bed again. They already have their own bed. In fact, many owners buy comfortable dog beds, blankets, or even entire sleeping corners designed just for them. Yet somehow, night after night, the dog ends up in the same place, right beside you. Sometimes stretched across your legs, sometimes curled near your chest, sometimes taking up more space than you thought a dog that size could possibly occupy. For many people, this becomes a familiar scene. The dog shifts, sighs, maybe kicks slightly while dreaming. The owner wakes briefly, adjusts the blanket, and both fall back asleep. It feels normal, almost routine. But behind this simple nighttime habit lies a surprisingly complex psychological story. Most people assume the explanation is simple. They think the dog climbs onto the bed because it is warmer, or because it has become a habit, or because the dog is overly attached and wants attention. These explanations sound reasonable, but they only describe the surface of the behavior. When scientists began studying why dogs choose to sleep beside humans, they discovered something much deeper. The decision to sleep next to a human is not just about comfort. It involves instinct, neurochemistry, attachment psychology, and even thousands of years of evolutionary history. When a dog climbs onto the bed and falls asleep beside you, their brain is making a very specific decision about safety. The first idea people often mention is warmth. After all, bodies generate heat, and sleeping next to another living creature can make a bed feel more comfortable. But if warmth were the real reason, dogs would have many other options. Dogs regularly seek warm places throughout the day. They lie in sunlight, curl up near heaters, or bury themselves in blankets and clothing. Yet even when those warm options are available, many dogs still choose to sleep beside their owners. This tells us something important. The bed itself is not the main attraction. The person on the bed is. Sleep is the most vulnerable state any animal experiences. When a dog falls asleep, their ability to monitor the environment drops dramatically. Their reaction time slows, their awareness fades, and their body enters a deeply relaxed state. In the wild, sleeping in the wrong place could mean being exposed to predators or unexpected threats. Because of this, animals instinctively choose sleeping locations that feel safest. When a dog chooses to sleep beside a human, they are ignoring quieter corners of the house and placing themselves next to a creature that is often 10 or 15 times their size. From a purely survival perspective, that is a remarkable decision. The dog has concluded that the safest place in the entire environment is beside you. Psychologists studying human-animal relationships discovered that the emotional bond between dogs and humans closely resembles the attachment patterns seen between infants and caregivers. In one famous study, researchers adapted the strange situation test, originally designed to measure attachment in human babies, and applied it to dogs. In this experiment, dogs were briefly separated from their owners and later reunited. The results were striking. About 60% of the dogs displayed what psychologists call secure attachment. This is the same attachment pattern observed in many human children. A securely attached child sees their caregiver as a safe base. They explore the world confidently, but when they feel vulnerable, they return to the person who makes them feel safe. Dogs behave in a similar way. Sleeping beside their owner is not simply affection. It is the moment when the dog seeks the person they trust most during the time when they are most vulnerable. This emotional bond is reinforced by chemistry inside the brain. When dogs and humans interact positively, something remarkable happens inside both nervous systems. A hormone called oxytocin begins to rise. Oxytocin is often called the bonding hormone because it plays a major role in trust, attachment, and emotional connection. When a dog looks into the eyes of their owner, both the human brain and the dog's brain release oxytocin. This effect creates a feedback loop. The more they interact, the more the bond strengthens. What makes this even more fascinating is that this neurological loop appears to be unique to the relationship between humans and dogs. Similar studies with wolves do not produce the same effect. Wolves can form social bonds with humans, but they do not show the same oxytocin response during eye contact. Something changed during domestication that allowed dogs to form a deeper chemical bond with humans. Physical contact during sleep strengthens this connection even further. When a dog lies against a human body, both individuals often experience a drop in cortisol, the hormone associated with stress. Lower cortisol levels create a sense of calm and relaxation. Over the course of an entire night, this physical closeness can reinforce the emotional bond between the dog and the owner without either of them consciously noticing it. It is a quiet chemical conversation happening between two nervous systems. The roots of this behavior reach far back into history. Dogs were the first animals humans domesticated long before the development of agriculture. Archaeological evidence suggests that humans and dogs have lived together for at least 15,000 years. One remarkable discovery comes from a burial site in Germany dating back roughly 14,000 years. In this grave, the remains of a human and a dog were buried together. Analysis of the bones revealed that the dog had suffered from illness earlier in life but had been carefully cared for during recovery. This suggests that even in ancient times, the relationship between humans and dogs went far beyond simple utility. The bond had already become emotional. Genetic research supports this idea. Scientists studying dog DNA discovered changes in genes related to social behavior, particularly on chromosome 6. These genetic variations appear to influence how strongly dogs seek proximity and interaction with humans. In other words, domestication did not just change the way dogs look, it changed the way their brains process social relationships. Over thousands of years, dogs gradually evolved a biological tendency to seek closeness with humans, especially during moments of rest or vulnerability. Interestingly, sleeping with a dog also creates a paradox in human sleep science. Clinical sleep studies often show that dogs can disrupt sleep. They move, shift positions, kick during dreams, and sometimes take up more space than expected. From a purely mechanical perspective, this should reduce sleep quality. Yet many dog owners report the opposite experience. They say they feel more relaxed and comfortable when their dog sleeps beside them. The explanation appears to be psychological. Humans often experience a sense of safety when another living creature is nearby. Even if the sleep itself is slightly interrupted, the emotional comfort of companionship can outweigh the physical disturbance. The presence of the dog creates a subtle feeling of security. Recent research suggests that something even more complex may be happening during these shared nights of sleep. Studies measuring heart rate variability, a marker used to understand nervous system activity, show that dogs and their owners can gradually synchronize their physiological rhythms when resting near each other. Over time, the heart rate patterns of the human and the dog begin to align. In simple terms, two different nervous systems are regulating themselves together. This phenomenon has led some researchers to describe sleeping beside a dog as a shared neurological event. It is not just two individuals resting in the same place. It is two biological systems adjusting to each other's presence. Because this ritual becomes part of the emotional bond between dog and owner, a sudden change in sleeping behavior can sometimes signal a problem. If a dog that normally sleeps beside its owner suddenly stops doing so, it may be worth paying attention. Environmental changes can influence this behavior. A new household routine, a different sleeping arrangement, or increased noise in the environment can shift where the dog feels comfortable resting. However, physical discomfort can also play a role. Early stages of joint pain or muscle soreness may make jumping onto the bed difficult even before obvious limping appears. In older dogs, cognitive changes similar to dementia in humans can disrupt familiar routines, including sleeping patterns. When a long-standing sleeping ritual suddenly stops, it may be a sign that something deeper has changed in the dog's body or environment. When all of these factors come together, attachment psychology, oxytocin chemistry, evolutionary history, and synchronized nervous systems, the simple image of a dog sleeping beside its owner begins to look very different. What appears to be a cozy nighttime habit is actually the result of thousands of years of biological and emotional development. The dog is not choosing the bed itself, they are choosing the person. To a dog, the safest place in the entire environment is often not the quietest corner or the warmest blanket. It is the place where their trusted human is sleeping. In that moment, the dog is not simply resting. They are returning to the one place where their instincts, their chemistry, and their emotional world all agree they belong. If your dog curls up beside you at night, it is not just about comfort. It is about trust. And in the quiet hours while the world is asleep, your dog has chosen the place they believe is safest, right next to you. If your dog sleeps with you every night, share in the comments where they usually settle, by your feet, beside your chest, or stretched across the entire bed. And if you want to understand more of the hidden psychology behind your dog's behavior, subscribe to the channel.